It's Thursday, February 14. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Minister of Education, Senator Burrell Reid, says all is set for administering of the ability component of the Primary Exit Profile Examination, PEP, scheduled for Tuesday, February 26.
Primary Exit Profile will be administered annually in all primary level institutions at grade 4, 5, and 6. For the academic year 2018-2019, the first cohort of students will sit the grade 6 components, starting with the ability test, which is scheduled for the 26th of February this year, in a few days, in 1,104 centers across the island. The test will be administered to students born the years 2006, 2007, and 2008. The ability test measures students' ability to reason with words and qualitative and verbal reasoning. It represents 30% of students' profile. This test consists of 40 single select multiple choice items. Students will complete the test in a test booklet similar to layout in the practice papers distributed to the system.
This will be the first sitting of PEP, which has replaced the Grade 6 Achievement Test, GSAT, as the National Secondary School Entrance Examination.
Teachers are now ready. Teachers are aware that the different components of the test are fully ventilated. Active engagement of teachers started in September of this year. They have been active preparing the student by utilizing material provided by the ministry.
Reid was speaking yesterday at a post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. He said that just over 40,000 primary level students island-wide will sit the examination. The performance task component of PEP will be administered on March 27 and 28, while the curriculum-based test will be done on April 17 and 18. Favour Shirley Williams, the Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Eastern, will today take over the turbulent Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. The appointment of Williams, who was Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, was announced in a release by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who also announced changes to the administrative status of 2 junior ministers, Alanda Terrelong and Floyd Green, as well as 3 prominent permanent secretaries, Audrey Sewell, Sansia Templer-Bennett and Carol Palmer. Green will be assigned to the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, while Terrelong has been shifted from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Permanent Secretary Palmer has been transferred from the Ministry of Justice to work with Minister Williams in the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. Templer-Bennett goes to the Ministry of Justice from the Office of the Prime Minister, the OPM, while Sewell will take over at the OPM. More questions were raised on Wednesday regarding the salary for former Petrojam Human Resource Manager Yolande Ramharak. As the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, met, Opposition member Dr. Morris Guy highlighted the difference in Ramharak's salary in documents tabled in Parliament on Tuesday as opposed to the same submitted to the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, last July.
Basic or pensionable salary of $842,716 compared to $656,333 in the document table at the PAAC. Transportation and subsistence are the same, duty allowances same, total monthly compensation 1.081, annualized to 12.977. And this one that was given to the Parliamentary Committee before had an annualized of the same date of offer of 10.58. Hence by asking the question before, which of the document are we really to deal with?
Petrojam General Manager Winston Watson explained the differences in salaries.
So there was a first letter which member guy spoke about. Then there was a subsequent letter, the letter that was tabled yesterday, that was the final salary that was offered to the HR manager. Subsequent to that, there was a settlement with the union and the government. There was a 3-year increase. So that would have applied for 17-18 and a part of 18-19.
Telroy Morgan, who acted as general manager after Floyd Grindley left the company mid-2018, also made it clear that Tuesday was the first time he had seen the letter.
The process with any changes at the refinery speaks to the same payroll change form. That is what is utilized. I wasn't privy at any time for any new letter. I didn't know there was a new letter that was generated. I'm only hearing about this new letter for the first time today. I didn't even hear that last night.
However, State Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Everald Warmington, wasn't having it.
Let me go back at it again. I'm not satisfied.
Go ahead.
There was a change in salary and the pay stub. There must be some document somewhere to show that there was a change and authorizing that. And if you're acting as general manager, I would say you're derelict in your duty. If you saw something like that and didn't ask, now you're saying you got document from several persons. There's no way it could be run a corporation, whether acting or permanent. And I have a contract in front of me that states a figure, and the pay stub is correspond with that figure. And then there's another pay stub that speaks to an increase. I would have to ask, how do we arrive at that? And where is the document to support it?
Ms. Ramharak resigned on November 22 after reaching a settlement with Petrojam a day before the Auditor General's draft report on Petrojam in relation to allegations of corruption came to light. It was the best option. That's the defense of Petrojam legal officer and corporate secretary Tamara Robinson with regards to the compensation settlement from human resource manager Yolanda Ramharak. Robinson was part of the Petrojam team that appeared before the Public Accounts Committee on Wednesday to field questions related to Ramharak. On Tuesday, one of the documents submitted in Parliament outlined the cost-benefit analysis, which was used to arrive at the decision to settle with Ms. Ramharak. Opposition PAC member Peter Bunting drilled down on the analysis.
How do you explain this 60% chance of her being successful, which you've used in the calculation, even though procedurally Petrojam was impeccable, and in terms of the 19 charges, on multiple of those 19, almost all 19, were the basis for dismissal for cause and without any further payment and without notice.
However, Ms. Robinson maintains that based on the analysis, Petrojam decided that it was best to arrive at a settlement with Ramharak rather than face a possibility of a protracted case before the Industrial Disputes Tribunal.
We sought and obtained legal advice in respect of our chances before the IDT. And the legal advice was that the IDT is very employee-centric. There is almost a bias towards the employee, and even the slightest procedural breach can tip the scales in favor of the employee. This is legal advice that we obtained from reputable and established counsel.
At the time of her separation from Petrojam, Ramharak was facing an internal disciplinary committee with a total of 19 charges against her name.
No matter how egregious the conduct of a public official employed to a public body, if they make a fuss about being terminated and get a lawyer on board to drag out the proceedings by not being available for the scheduled dates and so on, a cost-benefit analysis would warrant them being paid a multi-million-dollar settlement for termination. That is the precedent that is being set in this case by the decision that was taken to settle with this lady on these terms.
I think I'd like to take it. I don't think, Mr. Chairman, I can speak for all public bodies. But I think we have to look at other factors. So when I inquire, can we use even the point that was raised by Member Bunting as a basis for termination? I was advised that according to Labor Code 22 or one of them, even though you have that in your letter of employment, you cannot summarily dismiss. You have to still go through a process. When I went back to PetroJam, we had several HR issues. We had staff members who had been demoted. We had people who were shifted into different positions. We had people who were terminated. We were in the middle of union negotiation. We had job evaluation to do. We had reorganizing to do. The staff morale was very much down. This lady was coming to work every single day, basically filling up a slot and preventing us from moving on with the business.
The public is being advised that in order to facilitate today's ceremonial opening of Parliament, several roads in the corporate area will be closed to pedestrian and vehicular traffic. This began at 8 a.m. These include Duke Street between Sutton Street and North Street, Beeston Street between King Street and Hanover Street, Charles Street between Hanover Street and King Street. The police advised that Mark Lane will be operated as one-way south to north between Beeston Street and Charles Street. As is custom, Governor General Sir Patrick Allen delivered the throne speech. A male suspect is in custody for the murder of Member of Parliament Dr. Linville Bloomfield. He was arrested in Buff Bay, Portland yesterday. Police investigators are reportedly reviewing recordings of conversations between the MP and the suspect. Bloomfield's body was found at his Paisley Gardens house on February 2 with multiple stab wounds. Gas prices are up by $2.86 today. The state-owned oil refinery PetroJam says E1087 will sell for $122.42 per litre, and a litre of E1090 will sell for $125.25. Automotive diesel oil will go up by $2.13 to sell for $132.20. The price for kerosene will move down by 12 cents to sell for $109.28. In the meantime, propane cooking gas will go down by 60 cents to sell for $43.65. Do remember, retailers will add their respective markups. In regional news, Venezuela's opposition-controlled Congress on Wednesday named a temporary board of directors to the state-owned oil firm PDVSA in an effort to wrest the country's oil revenue from President Nicolas Maduro. PDVSA's subsidiary, PDV Caribe, owns 49% of Jamaica's refinery, PetroJam. An increasingly isolated Maduro lashed out at the Congress leader Juan Guaido, saying in an interview that he would face the courts sooner or later for violating the Constitution after he declared himself interim president last month. Although many Western countries have recognized Mr. Guaido as legitimate head of state, Mr. Maduro retains control of state institutions. Mr. Guaido needs funds if he is to assemble an interim government. Controlling PDVSA's U.S. refiner Citgo Petroleum, Venezuela's most valuable foreign asset, will go some way to helping in that. In sports, Olympian and national record holder Kamoy Campbell yesterday walked for the first time since he collapsed at the Millrose Games in New York over the weekend. The athlete, who was functioning as a pace setter in the 3,000 meters on Saturday when he collapsed, gave an update to his 10,200 Instagram followers in an emotional post yesterday. He's being treated at the New York Presbyterian Columbia University Irving Medical Center. Campbell wrote, quote, "I really didn't know how to start this caption, and while I started writing, tears flowed from my eyes. I realized that I'm either very lucky or someone was watching out for me Saturday. I cry because I know what the people who truly care about me went through when I heard my dad's voice on the phone, I couldn't stop crying. I heard the shock, sadness, pain, and relief all at once." End quote. He expressed that he took steps despite feeling dizzy. The distance runner also said he does not remember his collapse and stressed that athletes tend to push their bodies beyond the limit. And that's the news on PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.